The cafeteria smelled like burnt synthetic protein and recycled air. Commander Vorstel stopped in the doorway. His eye stalks slowly adjusted as he scanned the room. And then he saw her, the human, sitting alone at table 17. She was not eating the standard nutrient paste given to recruits. She was not touching the energy bars designed for performance optimization. Instead, she was tearing into a full roasted bird with her bare hands. Grease covered her fingers. She looked calm, almost happy, like this was just another normal meal. Vorel blinked in disbelief. Humans were supposed to prepare for the Death Garden trial, not feast. Lieutenant Kryn whispered beside him. Sir, should we stop her? Vorel's mandibles tightened. On what charge? She is not following protocol. There is no rule against bringing your own food. He paused. And besides, who would want that paste anyway? Across the room, whispers spread. Recruit Maya Reeves continued eating as if nothing in the universe mattered. 4 hours remained before the Death Garden began. Other recruits were meditating, praying, training silently. Maya was chewing roasted chicken. When she noticed the commander watching, she smiled. Sir, she called out casually, want some? I made extra. The room froze. And no recruit had ever spoken to command like that before survival trial. Vorel approached her table slowly. Recruit Reeves, he said. Do you understand what awaits you? Yes, she replied, wiping her hands on a cloth. The Death Garden. 7 stages. High casualty rate. Extremely difficult. Her tone was relaxed. You should be preparing mentally, he said. Most recruits use this time for focus. Maya shrugged. I am focused. She stood up, still calm. I'm just also eating. The commander studied her to no fear in her posture, no shaking hands, no panic. Only steady confidence. Around them, the cafeteria remained silent. Everyone knew the Death Garden's history. Over 3,000 recruits had entered it since its creation. Most did not return. Last cycle, 16 entered. Only 4 survived, and none completed all stages cleanly. The Death Garden was not just physical. It was designed to break the mind. 7 stages. Heat, abyss, combat maze, drowning chamber, silence isolation, predator jungle, and, finally, psychological destruction. No human had ever attempted it before. Maya finished the last piece of chicken and stood. Commander, she said politely, with respect, I plan to survive. That statement alone made several nearby recruits step back. Survive? Most here hoped to survive. Few spoke it out loud. Vorel's voice lowered. Recruit Reeves. The first stage alone has nearly a 50% casualty rate. She nodded. I read the briefing. Reading was different from experiencing, he thought. She picked up her gear. Before leaving, she looked at the group gathered near the memorial wall, the names of fallen recruits engraved in metal. She didn't stop there, didn't pray, didn't hesitate. She walked past it like it was just decoration. Vorel felt something unusual. Curiosity followed her into the corridor. You understand what you're walking into? He asked. Yes. You may not return. She stopped, turned to face him. Her eyes were steady. I grew up on a planet where the environment tries to kill you daily. He paused. She continued. We have diseases that can end you in hours. Storms that destroy cities. Creatures that can kill you instantly. Her voice was calm. And we decided to survive by learning how to live with it. She adjusted her pack. If something is trying to test me, I'll adapt. Then she walked toward the staging area. Commander Vorstel remained still for several seconds. Lieutenant Kryn whispered, she is either extremely confident or completely unaware. Vorel watched her disappear down the hallway. No, he said slowly. I think she understands something we do not. At exactly 1,400 hours, the Death Garden doors opened. The staging chamber looked like the inside of a machine built for suffering. Dark walls, cold light, and windows, and comfort. 12 recruits stood in formation. 8 different species, different sizes, different strengths, different fears. And in the center of them stood Maya Reeves, smaller than most, calm as ever. General Thosker entered the room. He was a Urgith, a species known for strategy and ruthless efficiency. His voice was heavy and steady. before you lies the Death Garden. 7 stages, designed to push you beyond limits. Some of you will fail. That is expected. He paused. Completion means entry into elite special operations. Silence filled the chamber. Any questions? Maya raised her hand. Every eye turned toward her. Yes, Recruit Reeves. Sir, she asked politely, are we allowed to assist each other during the trial? The room felt shocked. Most recruits focused only on survival. Cooperation was rare. The general replied carefully, there is no rule against cooperation. Maya nodded. Thank you, sir. No feared in hesitation. The massive doors opened. Darkness waited beyond them. Begin when ready, the general said. The first recruits rushed forward immediately, driven by instinct and pride. Maya waited. She took 3 slow breaths, then walked in last. Stage 1. The furnace. The chamber was enormous, 300 meters wide, walls glowing red, heat rising like waves from a star. Stage 1 announcement echoed. Duration, 2 hours. Survival rate, 53%. Several recruits began searching for thermal suits immediately. Panic spread. Heat attacked fast. The Corfax twins struggled, their cold world bodies not built for this environment. Others ran blindly. Maya stood still, eyes closed. She listened. Not to feared TO airflow TO sound patterns. After 30 seconds, she opened her eyes and walked directly toward a wall that looked identical to the others. She pressed her palm against it. A hidden panel slid open. Thermal suits inside. The observers froze. How did she find that? Someone whispered. Vixtel replied quietly. She listened to the cooling system's sound difference. Maya put on one suit, then surprised everyone. She grabbed for extra suits and walked towards struggling recruits. She handed suits to the Corfax twins. Take them, she said calmly. What about you? One asked. I'm fine. She ensured others were protected first. The result? All 12 survived Stage 1 at a perfect outcome. Observers had never seen that before. Stage 2. The abyss, a massive chasm, opened before them in clear bottom. Platforms scattered across darkness. Each recruit had to cross using skill and strategy. Some jumped, some climbed, some used cables. Maya did not rush. She studied the pattern for 5 minutes, then chose the safest route, not the fastest. Along the way, she helped 2 smaller recruits cross gaps. They couldn't manage alone. Some observers thought she was slowing down, but she wasn't wasting time. She was reducing risk. When the timer ended, all 12 had crossed and injuries and casualties. The command deck went silent. 2 stages, 0 losses. That had never happened. Stage 3. Combat maze. This stage was designed to kill. Automated drones, plasma turrets, randomized attack patterns. Most recruits died here. Maya entered calmly. The moment lasers locked on her chest, she moved. Not a way in. Panic. Forward. She slid under plasma fire, rolled sideways, closed distance. Her knife struck a drone sensor cluster. IT exploded. She didn't stop. She read patterns. Not random chaos, but controlled randomness. Every system has structure. She found it, cleared her section in record time. Then something unexpected happened. She heard the Corfax twins struggling nearby. She could have continued alone. Instead, she used a signal jammer from her kit. Civilian grade. The turret systems malfunctioned for 3 seconds. That was enough. The twins escaped. Observers began to whisper. She's not just surviving. One said, she's building advantage. Stage 3 ended. All 12 survived again. The command deck was no longer calm. IT was tense, because something unusual was happening. Not one recruit was acting selfishly, and the human was leading without declaring leadership. The chamber filled slowly with liquid. Not water, but a corrosive solution. The walls began sealing as alarms echoed. Each recruit had to solve a multi-layer puzzle while the room filled. Time was limited. Panic started spreading again. Some species struggled with breath control. Others focused on the terminal locks. Maya entered last. Instead of rushing to the puzzle, she studied the room. She looked at airflow patterns, looked at pressure vents, listened. When the liquid level rose, she did something. Unexpected, she began singing softly, not loudly, not dramatically, just a steady rhythm. Her voice carried through the chamber. Something strange happened. Other recruits adjusted their breathing to match her rhythm. Panic reduced, heart rates stabilized, focus improved. They worked together. The puzzle was solved with seconds remaining. All 12 survived stage 4 for the first time in Academy history. The observers were no longer debating. They were watching carefully, because this was not luck. This was strategy. Stage 5. The silence chamber, a perfectly white sphere, in O sound, in O echo, in O external noise. Complete sensory isolation. Recruits entered alone. Most species broke mentally within 20 minutes. Isolation was the true enemy. Maya stepped inside. The door sealed. Inside, silence was absolute. The holographic challenge appeared. Complex tactical calculations across 14 variables. 45 minutes allowed. She closed her eyes first, centered herself, then began working. Fast, focused, her fingers moved with precision. 18 minutes later, she finished. 18. Observers stared at the clock. That was far beyond expected performance. The door opened. She stepped out calmly. Immediately, she went to the next recruit chamber. One of the Corfax twins emerged shaken. Maya placed a hand on his shoulder. "Breathe," she said. "You're done. Silence can't hurt you anymore." He asked, "How did you survive it?" She smiled gently. "I grew up on a farm. Long, quiet days. You learn something important." "What's that?" "Silence isn't empty. You just have to fill it with something steady." She checked her time. "We move soon." She distributed water and ensured everyone was stable. The observers were stunned. Not only had she passed, she had helped others pass. And Stage 5 had historically been one of the highest failure points. Stage 6, Predators Runa jungle environment. 3 square kilometers. Real predators. Neural limited kill beasts. Each recruit had an objective to retrieve, and extraction was required. Most recruits scattered individually. Maya studied the equipment, then spoke to the group. "We're sticking together." That surprised everyone. "It violates tradition," someone said. "It does not violate regulations," she replied calmly. Silence followed. Then agreement. 12 recruits moved as a single unit. Predators hunted by isolating targets. Maya knew that she prevented isolation. When the first kill beast attacked, they used formation tactics. Shrill, the fastest recruit, acted as bait. The beast charge ran into a coordinated defensive wall. Maya moved under it, not to kill, but to disable the neural limiter system. The predator's aggression shut down in unnecessary harm. The pack moved forward. Over 3 hours, they encountered multiple predator groups. Each time, stay together, coordinate, control aggression, avoid panic. The predators learned quickly. This group was not prey. When extraction point was reached, all 12 objectives secured. All 12 recruits alive. Stage 6 complete. Observers were arguing loudly now whether this counted, whether cooperation changed the test's purpose, whether the Death Garden needed redesign. But General Thosker raised a hand. They violated no rules. Silence returned. Only one stage remained. Stage 7, the breaking point. This was not physical. This was mental. Each recruit entered a separate chamber. Neural interface chairs activated. The AI accessed their deepest fears, their regrets, their personal histories, and built nightmares tailored exactly to them. One by one, feeds showed screams. Visions of home worlds destroyed, family members dying, failures replayed in endless loops. The system knew where to hurt. IT was designed to break identity itself. Observers watched in silence. Then they checked Maya's feed. She was calm, seated in the chair, eyes open, heart rate steady. The simulation began. She saw her farm on Earth, crops destroyed, animals gone, her family missing. A voice blamed her. "You left them. This is your fault." The scene intensified. Graves appeared. Her home collapsed. The voice repeated accusations that IT was cruel, perfectly engineered guilt. Maya stood inside the simulation, walked through the ruined land, and said one word. No, the system tried to increase emotional pressure. but she repeated it, no, louder this time. This isn't real. Her voice stayed steady. My family is fine. Earth is fine. And even if something terrible happened, giving up wouldn't help them. She walked to the puzzle terminal inside the simulation, sat down, and began solving it. While voices screamed around her, 47 minutes later, completed. Meanwhile, the other recruits faced their own fears: burning worlds, shattered bodies, lost wings, destroyed homes. But something had changed. They remembered stage 6, they remembered working together, they remembered Maya telling them to breathe. Each recruit solved their puzzle point one by one, until finally, all 12 chambers opened. All 12. Recruits stepped out. Point 0 withdrawals, point 0 failures, point 0 casualties. The Death Garden had never been completed like this. General Thosker arrived personally. He looked at them carefully. You have completed all 7 stages. Silence filled the room. For the first time in Academy history, with 0 losses. The room erupted. Some roared in celebration. Others simply stood stunned. Maya smiled quietly. Not prideful. Not arrogant. Just relieved. Later in the medical bay, Commander Vorstel approached her. He looked different now. Less skeptical. More thoughtful. Recruit Reeves, he said. Why did you help others? You could have improved your individual score. Maya sipped tea calmly. Because surviving alone wasn't the goal. What was? Passing. She looked at him. Elite units don't need the strongest individual. They need the strongest team. She paused. If I left them behind, I would have proven I'm not leadership material. That's the real test. Vorel studied her carefully. You terrify me. She grinned slightly. Good. I'd hate to be predictable. 3 days later, the Academy gathered for the official results. The Death Garden chamber had never seen silence like this. All 12 recruits stood together. Not separated. Not ranked. Together. General Thosker stepped forward. In the history of this academy, he began, no group has completed the Death Garden with 0 casualties. He paused. That has now changed. A wave of shock moved across the hall that he continued. Furthermore, this group achieved the highest collective performance scores ever recorded. Observers exchanged stunned looks. This success was not based on individual dominance. He looked directly at Maya. It was based on cooperation. Then came the announcement. I am authorizing the formation of an experimental special operations unit. The room went quiet again. These recruits will train together, deploy together, serve together. He turned toward Maya. Recruit Reeves. You will lead this unit. A junior lieutenant rank was granted. Maya stepped forward. No hesitation, no arrogance. Just calm responsibility. Choose your team name. She turned to face the others, the Corfax twins, the Selenite, Shrill, and the rest. Her pack, she smiled. Pack hunters, sir. The name echoed across the chamber. Because that's what we are. No one argued. The general nodded once. Approved. After the ceremony, Commander Vorstel watched from the balcony. He thought about statistics, about probability, about how a single human had rewritten the Death Garden's outcomes. Lieutenant Kryn stood beside him. Do you think she knew she could succeed? He asked quietly. Vorel considered that, then replied honestly, no, I think she simply refused to believe she couldn't. He remembered her application essay. IT had said, I want to see what else is out there. This seemed like the most fun way to do it. Fun. She had walked into one of the most dangerous trials in coalition space after eating roasted chicken and smiling. What changed the Death Garden was designed to prove one thing. Some challenges must be faced alone. Maya proved something different. Strength increases when shared. Fear decreases when faced together. And survival improves when minds work as one. She didn't win by being the fastest. She didn't win by being the strongest. She won by listening, carefully planning, calmly sharing resources, using logic over ego, turning competition into cooperation, and most importantly, she refused to let fear isolate anyone. First deployment 3 weeks later, the newly formed unit deployed on their first mission. Under the name Pack Hunters, 12 recruits, 0.8 species, 0.1 strategy, trust. Commander Vorstel reviewed their file one last time before departure. He added a personal note. Reevaluate all assumptions about human psychology. Then, after a pause, and learn that chicken recipe. Because before facing the Death Garden, she had eaten, not out of arrogance, but because she understood something fundamental. Fuel your body, calm your mind, support your team, face the challenge together. Final scene somewhere on Earth, on a quiet farm, Maya's grandmother continued tending her garden. Unaware that her advice had helped reshape Coalition's special operations doctrine, she had once said, "The strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who help someone else up before fixing themselves." That philosophy had just passed the Death Garden, with 0 casualties, and the galaxy would remember it. Not as a story of one hero, but as the beginning of a new kind of elite unit, pack hunters.